All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is about 7:45 in the morning on Tuesday, June 10th. I've seen some reputable TikToks this morning, reporting from places like the LA Times and ABC News. Reputable, but a military convoy left 29 Palms Marine Corps base overnight, and Marines are being transported, active duty Marines are being transported to Los Angeles for boots on the ground in an American city. Currently, this is illegal on the part of Donald Trump and his administration. He has not signed a document invoking the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act is the only exception that I'm aware of to the Posse Comitatus Act, which makes it illegal to deploy United States active duty military within the United States. In Donald Trump's executive order that he signed on Saturday, he invoked Government Code Section 10 U.S.C. 12406, which provides for certain circumstances in which he can federalize the National Guard. 10 U.S.C. 12406 says absolutely nothing about active duty military. It only addresses the National Guard. At the end of that executive order, he said further, I'm granting authority to the Secretary of Defense to deploy active duty military anywhere he sees fit within the United States at his discretion. That is not provided for in 10 U.S.C. 12406. The only code section that provides for deploying active duty military on U.S. soil within the United States is 10 U.S.C. 254, which is the Insurrection Act. So essentially, and nobody's surprised by this, Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are behaving as though the Insurrection Act has been invoked, but Donald Trump has not signed a document that uses that phrase, the Insurrection Act. He has not signed a document citing 10 U.S.C. 254, which is the only exception to Posse Comitatus Act, making what's happening right now in Los Angeles with the Marine Corps illegal, like expressly illegal. Oh no, Donald Trump is doing something that's against the law. In their typical half-smart gotcha moments, the MAGA chuds are with tremendous celebration and enthusiasm sharing footage of Los Angeles from 1992 and the riots and the violence that took place following the verdict in the Rodney King trial, when George H.W. Bush deployed Marines, military personnel, and National Guard to Los Angeles. George W. Bush explicitly and formally invoked the Insurrection Act when he did that. That was the only thing that made that legal. What Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are doing now is expressly illegal and against the law. But again, we have a lawless presidential administration right now. Donald Trump has been lawless his entire adult life. And, I've seen some videos that some mutuals of mine have posted about all of this stuff, or about, showing footage of people being arrested, immigrants being arrested, and The MAGA chuds are leaving comments like they're terrorists, they're criminals, they're rapists, they're murderers, they're drug dealers, they're cartel members, every style of terrorist and criminal that you can possibly imagine. Then why is ICE exclusively raiding businesses where people are working jobs? And it's weird that none of these raids are taking place in red states. It's blue states and blue cities. I mean, you know, Donald Trump and Jared Kushner, when COVID first broke out near the beginning of 2020, it hit densely populated areas, blue cities and blue states like New York. And Jared Kushner and Donald Trump explicitly were like, well, why would we help them? They didn't vote for Donald Trump. And, you know, it's always with Trump, it's always a combination of being transactional and vengeance and retribution and punishment. If you don't act towards Donald Trump the way that Donald Trump thinks you ought to. He's been saying for several days now that Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass should be thanking him, and that they're not showing sufficient gratitude towards him for sending the National Guard in to put out a fire that Donald Trump lit. He wants to be rewarded for being an arsonist and causing this. But, you know, active duty Marines on the ground, in the streets, in Los Angeles. This is an entirely different animal. And I'll duet some videos from former and retired Marines. I mean, from what I've learned, there's no such thing as a former Marine, but non-active duty Marines that I've seen and other military personnel who are gravely concerned about this development. And again, Donald Trump thinks that members of the military are suckers and losers. He despises the military unless they're working for him and loyal to him. He feels the same way about law enforcement. He feels the same way about the National Guard. He has absolutely no fucking use for these people as human beings unless they are being loyal to him and using power, force, and violence on his behalf. And, you know, it's a twofer for him in Los Angeles because it's the Hollywood community who has always thought of him as a clown and treated him as a clown and has never given him the respect that he thinks that he deserves. And it's a way for him to hobble, in his mind, California Governor Gavin Newsom, who he also views as being insufficiently subservient and loyal to him and insufficiently grateful to him. But the comments that I've seen from Trump supporters on people's videos, the marketing, the brainwashing has been so incredibly thorough and has allowed them to just fully exist openly in their just absolute hatred, bigotry, and racism. You know, I've never met an overt racist who had a PhD. I'm just saying. These people are fucking morons. They are stupid and gullible and full of hate, and it is consuming them. And I hope it consumes them quicker rather than later.